Joining us now from Los Angeles is the political analyst Peter Mathews. Peter Mathews is also an author as well. Mr. Mathews, welcome to Al Jazeera. On that issue of deportation, both Sanders and Clinton distancing themselves from the settled White House line on that. Is that significant?
It is very significant. I don't think it wasn't just to get the Latino vote. I think they really believe it, that it's impractical and immoral to try to deport people who are here already, working hard and paying taxes. So they both agreed on that pretty much.
They also dodged the idea of answering directly the question, is Donald Trump a racist? They used language that would have edged the audience towards assuming that they think he is a racist, but they didn't use the R word.
That's correct. They implied it, and they didn't use the R word because that was too crude and crucial, and it doesn't go across very well in politics. So they said, yes, this man, we should not be looking at people based on religion and keeping them out of the country based on their religion or their national origin. And that was referring to Trump's advocacy that we keep Muslims out of America because of threats to terrorism, which was horrible for him to say. But both Clinton and Sanders said this is not the way to go, and this is not what America is about. So that was very interesting to see them both agree on that. And they didn't call him a racist, but they implied it, definitely.
Mr. Sanders also
and it wasn't just Muslims, it also had to do with Latinos.
OK, yeah, pardon me for interrupting you. Mr. Sanders also pushing Mrs. Clinton on Wall Street and her speeches to the great and the good of Wall Street, and more to the point, how much she gets paid or how much she has been paid for doing that. Is that potentially her Achilles heel here?
Absolutely an Achilles heel, very possibly, because the money in politics issue is huge in America right now. That's why there's protest votes going on for both Trump and for Sanders. They both say they can't be bought. Trump because he's a billionaire, and Sanders because he's got millions of people donating small amounts of money. And my book, Dollar Democracy with Liberty and Justice for Some, How to Reclaim the American Dream for All, focuses on money in politics. And Hillary's Achilles heel is that because she took not only money for her campaigns from Wall Street and other corporate interests, but she actually did speeches to Goldman Sachs and got paid $750,000 for 3 speeches. So Bernie made an interesting, joking statement. He said, that speech you got $250,000 for must have been a great speech, Hillary. Why don't you share the transcripts with us if you're so proud of it? And that was a dig at her on that, in terms of that money in politics issue.
She also looked rather grumpy when she was pushed on this idea of her emails and where she stored them or where she didn't store them. And she also, during her answer to a supplementary question on that issue, talked about emails being retrospectively reclassified. And she talked about Colin Powell. But the reality is that Colin Powell's had 2 emails classified as being confidential. She has had 2,000 emails reclassified. If somebody goes down that line with her, will they be able to take political lumps out of her credibility?
I believe that the Colin Powell situation is different than hers. He had a government server, even though he has his own email, private email that he used as well, but he's had a government server. She had a private server built by someone in her basement. And that is an issue that's going to be brought up again and again. And she says, well, they were not classified. Well, there are some emails that are called born classified because of the nature of the content of the email itself. It's automatically classified. And this is a real problem for her. And it's going to keep coming up and up again over and over. And Bernie won't touch it. He's trying to be the gentleman saying, there's a process in place. I'm not going to interfere with it. I want to talk about the really big issues that affect working Americans and young people and the middle class. So he's taking the high road on that one, but it doesn't mean Hillary's not out of the woods on that one because other people are bringing it up, and it's going to keep coming up as long as the investigation by the FBI is continuing, and the Department of Justice has to decide whether they're going to indict her or not. And that can go either way, I think.
Peter Mathews.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens on that issue.
Mr. Mathews, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Hundreds of Bangladeshis are